In accounts of his statements and testimony, certain words have been preserved, words that still sound disturbing today.
The murders I committed were my private affair. I am not a scoundrel or a criminal, but simply a murderer. Suffering itself is beauty, and inflicting pain on someone is a work of art. I felt pleasure when the knife entered the flesh. It is a feeling impossible to describe, an experience worth the gallows.
Karol Kot was born on December 18, 1946 in Kraków, Poland, a city that at the time was part of communist Eastern Europe. He lived with his parents in the Kazimierz district on Maizelza Street. He attended the Technical Secondary School of Energy Engineering on Loretańska Street. School records show no exceptional academic achievements. He was an average student. He did not cause disciplinary problems. Teachers described him as calm, disciplined, and well-behaved. He stood out clearly in sport shooting. He trained regularly and achieved very good results. Within his shooting club, he was considered one of the best marksmen in his section. His coach held him up as an example of diligence. He was a member of the Union of Socialist Youth and the League for National Defense, an organization that provided paramilitary and shooting training for young people. From the fourth year of technical school, he was also active in Ormo, the volunteer reserve of the citizens' militia attached to the Kraków Old Town District headquarters. Ormo functioned as an auxiliary force supporting the state police. He trained in karate. He was interested in bladed weapons. He owned a collection of knives. Among his peers, he was sometimes seen as withdrawn and strange. Nicknames circulated. Classmates knew he was fascinated with violence and that he was capable of telling dark stories. Some dismissed it as posturing. One of the people he confided in more openly was Danuta, an older student at the Academy of Fine Arts whom he met through the shooting community. He considered her his girlfriend. During a trip together to Tiniec, he attempted to attack her. The killing did not take place. For some time, she told no one about what had happened. Outwardly, he functioned as a disciplined and engaged young man. In reality, an obsession with inflicting pain was developing in parallel. In the fall of 1964, Kraków was not a city where people expected serial knife attacks. It was a time of relative order, a city patrolled and predictable, its daily rhythm shaped by schools, workplaces, and churches. On September 21, 1964, Helena Węgrzyn entered the Church of the Sacred Heart of Jesus on Garncharska Street. It was an ordinary day. She sat in a pew and then knelt in prayer. At some point, someone approached her from behind and delivered a powerful stab wound to her back. The blade pierced her clothing and her body, but she did not immediately understand what had happened. At first, she felt more of an impact than pain. She managed to leave the church on her own. She even stepped into a nearby store. It was there that people began to notice blood soaking through her coat. Someone told her her entire back was red. Only then did she realize she had been seriously wounded. She returned home, a doctor was called, and the case was reported to the police. It was the first sign that someone in the city was attacking without warning. 2 days later, on September 23rd, 76-year-old Franziska Lewandowska was returning from shopping to her apartment building on Skawinska Street. It was a calm afternoon. She entered the stairwell and the door closed behind her. Someone entered moments later. On the landing, she felt a sudden thrust into her back. The strike was precise and delivered from surprise. She fell onto the stairs. The attacker left immediately. Not a word was spoken. Neighbors found her. The wound was deep, but she survived. The police now had two nearly identical incidents: an attack from behind, no robbery, no conversation, and the quick escape. On September 29, 1964, 86-year-old Maria Plichta left her home near Jana Street. She moved slowly. Someone followed her for some time. When she reached a less frequented area, the attacker approached closely and stabbed her several times in the back and chest. She collapsed. She was transported to the hospital, where she died the next day. This was the first fatality. Tension in the city became real. Elderly residents began to fear walking alone. Patrols were increased near churches and residential buildings. The attacker disappeared. After this series came a long silence lasting approximately 17 months. There were no further knife attacks. The police did not find the perpetrator. During this time, Karol Kot did not abandon his attempts to kill. He changed methods. He purchased arsenic. He tested the poison in practice. One of the better-known incidents involved a milk bar, where he added arsenic to dishes and drinks, hoping someone would consume them. In another case, he poured poison into beverage bottles left in public places. He wanted to observe the effects. None of these experiments resulted in death, either because no one drank the poisoned liquid or because the dose proved insufficient. These attempts were not immediately connected to the earlier knife attacks. On February 13, 1966, violence returned in a way that shook the entire city. A sledding competition for children was being held near Kościuszko Mound. Many people were present. After the event ended, 11-year-old Leszek Całek moved away from the crowd, pulling his sled across the packed snow. At some point, someone approached him from behind. The boy was stabbed multiple times. The blows were delivered quickly and at close range. He died at the scene. Only the sled and the marks in the snow remained. The murder of a child changed the scale of fear. These were no longer attacks on elderly individuals in half-empty spaces. This was a killing committed almost in the presence of others. On April 14, 1966, an 8-year-old girl went down the stairwell of her apartment building on Jana III Sobieskiego Street to collect mail from the mailbox. It was something she had done many times before. The stairwell was quiet. The attacker approached from behind and stabbed her multiple times in the abdomen, chest, and back. The girl managed to return to the apartment and tell her parents she had been attacked. She was taken to the hospital. Doctors determined she survived only because medical help arrived immediately. In less than 2 years, Kraków had seen 2 murders and several attempted murders. The common element was the absence of a robbery motive, an attack from behind, and the perpetrator's quick disappearance. The victims were physically weaker individuals, elderly women and children. Police increased patrols, conducted interviews, and analyzed similarities between incidents. Despite this, the perpetrator remained at large for a long time. The city began to function differently. Elderly residents no longer walked alone. Children were no longer allowed to return home by themselves. In public space, a feeling emerged that someone was watching and choosing the moment when a victim was alone, and that he could strike at any time. The breakthrough did not come through a random witness or routine police work. It came through conversation. Karol Kot spoke more and more frequently about his actions to Danuta, the Academy of Fine Arts student he considered his girlfriend. In their conversations, he lost control. He described the attacks, showed her his knives, and spoke of details unknown to the public. At first, it could have sounded like sick fantasies. Over time, however, the details began to match what had appeared in the city after each assault. Danuta realized these were not boasts. She went to the police.
He told me what he had done. I didn't know who else to tell, so I came here.
Officers took her statement seriously. The information she provided corresponded with facts known only to the perpetrator and investigators. A decision was made to arrest him. On June 1st, 1966, the day after his final exams, Karol Kot was arrested at his apartment on Majzelsa Street in Kazimierz. Police knocked on the door. He opened it calmly. He did not resist. In conversation, he remained composed, speaking about his future plans, about military school, about further education. He did not appear to be a man about to be accused of a series of brutal attacks. During the search of his room, officers found 16 knives and other sharp instruments. They were not scattered randomly. They were arranged in order, forming something resembling a collection. Chemical substances were also secured, including arsenic he had previously purchased. He was taken to headquarters. On June 3rd, he confessed to the attacks. He did not deny them. He described the course of the assaults and indicated the locations. He spoke without emotion. During interrogations, he stated that inflicting pain gave him pleasure and that he was interested in the experience of the moment when the knife entered the body. He admitted he had planned further attacks. He was charged with 2 murders, several attempted murders, attempted poisoning, and preparation for other crimes, including arson. The trial began on May 3, 1967, before the provincial court in Kraków. The case drew enormous public attention. Journalists and observers were present in the courtroom. Kot pleaded guilty to the charges. Throughout the proceedings, he maintained his earlier statements. He showed no remorse. He said he did not feel like a scoundrel or a criminal, but simply a murderer. He claimed that suffering was a form of experience and that inflicting pain was for him an aesthetic act. Psychiatric experts examined his mental state. Ultimately, he was declared legally sane and capable of criminal responsibility. On July 14, 1967, the court sentenced him to death. The execution by hanging was carried out on May 16, 1968. Karol Kot was 21 years old. The case entered history as one of the most shocking in post-war Kraków. Behind the face of a calm technical school student, an active member of youth organizations, and a competitive marksman, was a perpetrator who, for nearly 2 years, attacked random individuals in public spaces and returned home as if nothing had happened.